Hey, boys and girls. Um, Welcome to our next week of learning. We are going to move on from subtraction and go ahead and talk about, move on from measurement and length. Okay. We're going to move on from that and jump right into shapes. Okay. Shapes and their attributes. Attributes are just talking about like describing the shape. Okay. Your essential question for this week is how can shapes be described, compared, and broken into parts? Okay. And that's what we're going to start talking about today. Today is going to be, you're going to learn a lot today. Some of you may already be very familiar with this stuff because you should have talked about it last year with Miss Steele. But if you don't remember, that's fine because this is going to be a really good review on all the things that you may have discussed last year. Okay, so no worries. We're going to talk about shapes and their attributes. We're going to start with 2D shapes, okay? We'll start talking about cubes and three-dimensional shapes on Wednesday, but today we're going to stick with two-dimensional shapes, which means that they're just flat. They're not solid, okay? Um, and we're going to talk about their attributes, okay? Some of the vocabulary words that we will be focusing on today are vertex, okay? And if you're talking about more than one, it'd be vertices. How many vertices does the shape have? Um, and we will talk about whether it's a quadrilateral, a pentagon, a hexagon, a polygon, and then we're also going to talk about the angles. Okay, so what I'm going to do is turn you around. I've actually got a couple of shapes here that it's from a kit that I bought for our classroom that I was hoping you guys were going to get to play with, but obviously we had no clue that school was going to be called off for the rest of the year. So I wish you guys were able to play with these things because they're pretty fun. They're magnetic and you can build things with them. But no worries. I'll let you look at them through the video. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get you turned around and just briefly talk about what we will be learning today. And then I'm going to play your visual learning video for you guys, which is going to take it a little bit deeper. And then, well, it'll take it deeper into like what is a polygon and talk about angles, okay, of a shape. And then I will let you go so you can get busy with your assignment. All right, so let me go ahead and get you turned around and get my stuff set up here. Okay, so we all know what shape this is, right? What shape is that? We know that it's a square, correct? We know that this is a square, but I had a square that was solid, like not solid, but it was filled in the middle. But I chose this one so that I could show you guys exactly what I'm talking about when I mention angles, okay? When you look at a shape, you guys already know that there are sides, okay? Because how do we even give a shape its name? How do we identify what shape it is? For example, if we looked at this shape, are these two shapes the same? No. And how do we know that? Because they have different sides, right? They have a different amount of sides. We know that this is a triangle because it has 1, 2, 3 sides. We know that this is a square because it has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, correct? Okay, so what we're going to focus on today is talking about how many vertices and angles, as well as how many sides a shape has, a two-dimensional shape. Okay, once we get into three-dimensional shapes, some of the terms will change and we will call them different things. But for now, we're going to focus on this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trace this square. Okay. All right, so we have our square. And like I just said, we already know that we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 sides. We know that we have 4 sides, but how many angles do we have? How many angles are there in a square? Well, if you look, each vertice on a square is also an angle. Okay, vertices, remember, are the points of the shape. Okay, where two sides come together to make a point. Okay, but when they do that, they are also, not only is it a vertice, okay, we know that each of these little points is a vertice. Okay, we know that it's a vertices. But also, we know that it is an angle, okay? These are angles. And when we watch the video, you'll also learn, I don't know if you can see that. Can't really zoom in too well. You'll also learn that these are actually called right angles because you notice how it makes a square, a small square. Those are called right angles. So each of these little blue corners of the shape are also angles, okay? They are also angles. So we've looked at a square. Let's look at a triangle real fast. Okay, let's look at this triangle. All right. How many sides does a triangle have? Oh, I don't think you can see that, can you? Let me just use a regular pen. Woo! I lost our paper. Okay. How many sides does a triangle have? 3, right? We have 1, 2, 3 sides. How many angles does a triangle have? 3. You have an angle here, an angle here, and an angle here. Okay. Now you'll notice that these angles are not right angles like we had when we were working with the square. Okay, these are not right angles, but they are still angles. So we also have 3 angles with a square. Okay, how many vertices? How many vertices does a triangle have? Okay, how many points? That's what the vertices are. The points where our sides come together. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, We have 3 vertices. All right. Okay, so those are just 2 simple shapes that I wanted to show you guys, just to help you remember what angles and vertices and sides are of a 2-dimensional shape. What I'm going to do is go ahead and play your visual learning video. That way you can learn a little bit more about what a polygon is and what right angles are. Okay.
Look at these shapes. A closed plane shape with 3 or more sides is called a polygon. You know the names of these polygons. Name each polygon shown.
Okay, so we know that the top one is a triangle, a square, pentagon, hexagon, right? But they're not these are not their only names. They are also called a polygon because remember it just told you that it's a plane shape that is closed, okay? And it doesn't have any curves. It has sides on it.
The polygons are a triangle, square, pentagon, and hexagon. These shapes are not polygons. Polygons are not open shapes. Polygons do not have curved sides. A circle is not a polygon. Why is the shape on the left not a polygon? Why is the shape on the right not a polygon?
Okay, I'm going to give you a second to think about that. Why is the shape on the left not a polygon? Why is the shape on the right not a polygon? Okay, let's see if you have some good ideas or if they're the same as what they say.
The shape on the left is not a polygon because it is not a closed shape. The shape on the right is not a polygon because one side is curved. Polygons have angles. They have the same number of angles as sides and vertices. A triangle has 3 angles. A right angle forms a square corner. A square has 4 right angles. What other polygon always has 4 right angles? Select your answer.
Okay, a pentagon or a rectangle? Which polygon has 4 right angles? We know that a square does, but does a pentagon have 4 right angles or does a rectangle have 4 right angles? Okay, you should have chosen a rectangle, mainly because we know that a pentagon has 5 angles. Whether they're right angles or not, a pentagon has 5 angles, right? Because it has 5 sides.
A rectangle always has 4 right angles. The pentagon below has 3 right angles. Now you know how to describe plane shapes by how they look.
Alright, so I hope that video helped you. I'm going to go ahead and let you go so you can get busy with your questions. Let me know if you have any questions. Post a private comment or leave a message in our Google Classroom, okay? I love you guys. Have fun.